Today we're making chocolate butter cookies, perfect for your holiday cookie box. Let's go! The best thing about this recipe is that there's not many ingredients and you can use a hand mixer. So first you're gonna get half a cup or 1 stick of softened butter. And we're gonna mix it up real good because that's gonna help us push it through the piping tip later on in this process. So make sure you're creaming it very well. And in that same bowl, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and we're gonna mix that. You can scrape as you go, but we really wanna make sure that this is well incorporated and well combined. All right, in a separate bowl, we're going to sift together a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder and 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Usually, I don't really fuss around with sifting these things, but my cocoa powder was so lumpy. So, better to be safe than lumpy. So we're gonna sift and push it through and make sure that everything is nice and smooth. Like, look how lumpy it is. My. All right, anyways, you're gonna sift this together in a separate bowl to prepare to combine with our other ingredients. But first, we're actually gonna go back and add a little bit more before we add these lovely dry ingredients. All right, we have this beautiful creamed butter and sugar, and now we're gonna add some flavoring. So I have Mexican vanilla, and this is my favorite brand. It's so delicious. Now, it is all to your preference. You can add anywhere from 1 to 3 teaspoons of vanilla in your cookie recipes. I'm gonna be a little bit closer to a tablespoon. And then since these are chocolate buttercream cookies, I'm also gonna add a little bit of coffee emulsion. Now, don't go too far like I did, because of course, coffee is a bitter flavoring. So just, err on the side of cautiousness, maybe closer to 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons, and it will be a perfect enhancement to your chocolate flavor. Next, we're gonna add some heavy whipping cream. So I'm gonna start out with 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and that's just gonna help bind all of these ingredients together. Butter cookies are mostly butter for the wet ingredients, but sometimes you need to add a little bit of something extra so that you can get it to be combined together to create a cookie dough. And that's it. That is the base for these cookies, about 6 ingredients. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine what we have with our wet ingredients with our dry ingredients, which was our cocoa powder and our flour that we sifted earlier in the video. And we are going to create the base for these delicious cookies. So this is, of course, a cookie dough. So it is gonna be a bit thick as an end result, but I'm also checking to make sure it's not so thick that I'm not able to push it through a piping bag later on, because I need to be able to pipe this into that classic butter cookie shape that we love so much. And so as I'm mixing, I'm checking to make sure that the dry ingredients are balanced with the wet ingredients. And if I notice that this is looking a little bit too dry, I reserved a tablespoon of whipping cream that I can add in to help it get to that nice, kind of like a Play-Doh texture. As I'm mixing here, I'm noticing, this kind of looks a little too crumbly. It looks too dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that tablespoon of whipping cream. And you're gonna really see the difference that it makes. It's gonna take it from being this dry, crumbly looking dough to something that can form and hold a shape, which is what we really want for butter cookies. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Did you notice how my dough was pulling away from the sides of the bowl? That means that it's pretty well combined, okay? And I'm gonna take it out and feel it. Always scrape this bowl down, y'all. You see all that butter on the side? We don't want that. That's what causes cookies to come out kind of funky looking. You have some parts that are just not right, some parts that are too dry. We gotta make sure we incorporate all that butter. We're gonna scrape down the bowl. We're gonna give it one more good mix, and then we are ready to pipe some delicious chocolate butter cookies. I'm so excited. All right, we're gonna get an open star tip for the classic butter cookie shape. Now, this is a thick dough. Listen, this is realistic baking, all right? This is not gonna be this perfect aesthetic, piping out smooth, perfect. Listen, okay? It's not the easiest thing in the world, but if you take your time and you make sure that your dough is the right consistency, you can do it. All right, so I got my piping bag. I actually double bagged this because this dough was thick, baby. What helps is if you only put half of the dough in there, like a small amount. If you've ever worked with thick frosting or any like thick dough, if you fill that bag to the top, you're gonna need the strength of the Hulk to push it through, okay? So the less dough, the better, you know, make it manageable for yourself. So I saw this hack earlier and I thought this was so smart. This dough is thick, it wants to pick the parchment paper up, so you just take like a little blob, a little bloop of the dough, and you can use it to glue down the corner so that where you're working, it doesn't get picked up by the thickness of this dough. It's so smart, I love it. Okay, so just like take a little bloop out and put it on the corner, and that'll keep it from moving around while you're making these beautiful butter cookie shapes. All right, now I warned you, don't be clowning me in the comments, okay? I was using the strength, all the strength I had, okay, to create these shapes because this dough is thick, all right? And so you basically want to make these circular spiral shapes. That's our butter cookie, classic butter cookie shape that you see. Think of those little cookies that we used to get during the holidays that come in a blue tin, like just that beautiful circular star tip shape. Loved it so much. This was like my favorite part, except I was fighting to squeeze it out. But I was very satisfied that I could see how beautiful this cookie was going to be. All right, so I did a couple of these this way and I thought they were very cute. Next time I make these, I think I'll use like a circle template so I can get them the same size. I love to have uniformity, of course, especially if you wanted to give this as a gift or sell it as a product. You want to, you know, have some sort of uniformity in what each cookie looks like. So I started in the middle and I spiraled around. And the more I did this, after a while, I was like, okay, I see what I'm doing. I see what I'm doing. So this is definitely, I know it's something we may not do all the time, maybe once a year, but the more you do it, you know, you get the hang of it. And this dough is just luscious. Like, look how shiny it is. I don't know, so beautiful and not that many ingredients. And then I was like, okay, let's try a different one. Let's see like a different shape. And so I did a few that had more like of an S curve, and I thought those were also very beautiful. And I could just imagine this in a holiday cookie box and how beautiful they would be. Now, if you wanted to add some sprinkles or some sanding sugar before you put them in the oven, this would be a perfect time to do that. After I piped out all these beautiful shapes, I was so proud of them, I went ahead and I put them in the refrigerator for 10 minutes. So this is where you would refrigerate them. That'll help them hold their shape. And oh my goodness, look at these cookies. Phenomenal. So beautiful. And then you can add a little something to jazz them up. You could do melted chocolate. Oh, I've seen some where you drizzle the melted chocolate and then add pistachios. Yum. Okay, but I kept it cute and simple, and so I did a little bit of red, green, and white like holiday mix sprinkles on there, and I did a drizzle for my squiggles, and I dipped my round cookies, and I just think they're just the cutest thing ever. Not too many ingredients. You can use a hand mixer. They're ready in like maybe 30 minutes of prep and, you know, getting it all together, and they're delicious. So if you try these cookies, please let me know in the comments. Also, please let me know if you would like to see any more cookie recipes, icing recipes, cupcake recipes, all of that good stuff. I am really getting the hang of YouTube. It's been amazing growing and seeing so many new subscribers. Thank you so much. See you fa la 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 later.